Good morning, my name is Brandon Lovett, Harvestland Co-op Seed Manager.
Good morning, I'm Curt Naylor, YieldPro Manager for Harvestland Co-op.
Yes, and this is the adjuvant stop for the answer plot sessions here this year. And we're here to talk to you about some products that we offer through Harvestland Co-op and some of the things we do through our organization.
Yeah, so Brandon, as I'm out on the farm and talking to growers, one of the big questions about adjuvants is, hey, one, they add a lot of cost, and I really don't know why we need them or what they do. Can you help us out a little bit with that?
Yeah, I get that question a lot, Curt, and I appreciate that. Is when we look at adjuvants, the number one thing is those are really what make our herbicides work effectively in the system. Number one thing, and I learned this from Glenn Longabaugh, the number one thing is when we look at adjuvants, there's really three things that they're doing for us. Number one is in the tank. In the tank, products like Class Act, Alliance, even just simply AMS, what that's doing is that's conditioning the water, eliminating the ability for hard water molecules to tie up products like Roundup or Liberty. And actually that just makes more effective active ingredient as we apply that to the target species that we're going to kill. Okay, so we look at in the tank. Next, we look at in the air or in the field. We want to make sure with products like the Interlock brands, Interlock and Masterlock, we want to make sure we keep the herbicide, insecticide, or fungicide that we purchased, we want to keep it in the field. We don't need that going on to the neighbors or anything like that. So those products help keep us on target in the air as we're applying the product and keep them in the field that we're applying to. And then lastly, I look at in the plant. The adjuvants, let's look at Superb HC or Destiny HC. Those types of products actually make sure that we get the effective amount of the active ingredient into those plants so that we're either killing the weed or controlling disease or killing insects. So I look at them as stickers or burners to make sure we're getting those effectively shoved into the plant.
Okay. So they're about halfway through, you mentioned air, and so that brought me around to think about the airplanes. And when we start talking about fungicides and insecticides in these aerial rigs and the airplanes, one of the questions I get is, hey, we apply 2 to 3 gallons across an acre. So are there products that we can put in a tank that can help us with that, and what are those products?
Yeah. So we utilize here at Harvestland Co-op, we utilize a product called Masterlock. Masterlock is basically doing 2 of those 3 things that I mentioned to you before. Okay, number one is it is effectively helping stick the fungicide to the plant. Okay, so this is an MPE free product. So what I look at with that is in some cases adjuvants or surfactants added to fungicide at tassel stage corn can cause what we call arrested ear development. And a lot of that has to do with those in NPE that's within that fungicide or within that surfactant that we're using. This is NPE free, and it has been tested through the answer plot system to not show the arrested ear development. So we want to make sure that we're sticking and getting the most of that fungicide to stay on that plant as long as we can to get it within the system so we're controlling disease. Okay, so that's one of the things that Masterlock's doing. The other thing that Masterlock brings to the table is what we call 3D technology. Okay, so what I look at is depth of coverage. When we're applying fungicides to a crop, whether that's corn or soybeans, the more leaf surface that we can get that fungicide on, the better. All right, so when we spray with Masterlock across the top of this crop, we are effectively getting more of that canopy covered, not just the top leaves. We're actually getting fungicide deeper into that canopy, and that has to do with how fast that droplet's coming out of that nozzle. Okay, so we are getting, if we compare that to water, we're getting a lot more fungicide on more of the leaf surface of those plants in both corn in both corn and soybeans. Number 2 is the other D, or the second D, is deposition. So what we're doing is we're creating more uniform droplet size across that boom, and what we're doing is creating more uniform coverage across that application. Okay, so we are not having a multitude of large droplets or a multitude of small droplets that either the small ones will evaporate and the large ones will roll off the leaf surface. We're getting more droplets that are going to stay on that leaf surface. And then the third D is drift control. And a lot of people look at Interlock brands as just simply a drift control product, but they do so much more about the aforementioned two attributes that it brings. Drift control is extremely important, and by eliminating the number of small droplets, those fines, that's where Interlock brands like Masterlock help us keep that in the field. Okay.
Okay. So you talked aerial and the airplanes flying. So let's talk about ground rigs and spraying fungicide and insecticides on soybeans. Is there different products that we need to use when we're doing that?
Yeah, good question. And actually, when we have actually ground rigs that are applying actually to corn as well. So when we apply these, there's really no difference in what we're trying to accomplish. The big difference between an aerial application and a ground application is going to be the amount of water that we're putting on. So with the air, you mentioned 2 to 3 gallons. Ground applications, we're probably going to be somewhere between 10 and 20. And but we still utilize the same product. Masterlock is still effective in the air and on a ground rig in both cases. So we still utilize on the ground application Masterlock product, whether we're spraying corn or soybeans as well.
Okay. So I guess what I'm hearing from you is no matter the application, when those rigs go out, it's pretty daggone important that we've got an adjuvant in the tank.
Yes, it is really what makes the products work. If we don't have the right adjuvant package together for what we're trying to accomplish in the field, the money you spend on those fungicides, insecticides, and herbicides may be, you're not getting 100% effectiveness, okay? So these adjuvants are helping us accomplish what we want to do, and whether that's disease, insect control, or herbicide control, always read and follow those labeled directions. I hear that on the radio and ads all the time, but it is legitimately true. Is if you want the biggest bang for your buck on the purchase that you made of those products, the correct adjuvant products are extremely important. And utilizing high quality adjuvants is extremely important too. I know there's some other products on the market out here. The products that we provide through Harvestland are top notch, and they're going to give you what you expect.
All right, well Brandon, thank you very much. Your code for the answer plot is AP20. So thank you and have a great day.
Thank you, have a good day.